Hey fellow workers, welcome to the channel. Tonight we're checking out the Slic Knives Flic 3.5. This is a knife that I really wanted to test. First of all, because I am a fan of the red one and I love the design, but I'm also aware of the limitations of the red one. And I think this has a bunch of improvements upon the theme. Second, when I reached out to the owner of the company, Brandon, he was super willing to collaborate. I think he's a great guy, and I think he's a guy that doesn't only try to sell you the latest sprint run or limited edition. He makes good knives that you go out and use. And he uses knives himself. He's a hunter, a fisher, and a bushcrafter. So he's not just messing around with CAD designing knives every single day. He's trying to make a product that is gonna be nice to use. And so we're gonna do some testing, we're gonna do some comparison with the red one, and we're also going to do some mods on this guy. So it's gonna be fun. So the first thing I do when I get a new liner lock is spine wax, because I really want to make sure that the knife is not going to fail on me, and this passes the test. My second test here was to check if it was just as slicey as the red one given the increased blade stock, and really nothing that makes me think it's gonna perform any worse. And my other test here was to see how it goes through the wood, since the red one is pretty decent, but it bites straight into the wood, and it's not really the best for stuff like feather sticks. So I tried with the Slic knife, and this one, given the bigger angle of the bevel, this performed better than the red one. It made me do the same amount of digging into the wood with less passes. So I would say that these would perform better outdoors for camping compared to the red one. So there's definitely one knife that comes to mind when you see the overall design of the Slic knife, and that's the rat. So the rat, we all know and love the rat because it's a cheap, robust knife that can do many things. But honestly, I think that the Slic ends up being an improvement on the rat, at least concept-wise. So for pretty much the same price, you can get the Slic. Now, this one in particular is the S35VN version, so it's more expensive, but for the sake of the video, let's pretend that this is AUS 8, as it comes in the box usually. Now, the Flic knife, it's AUS 10, which is a slight improvement in terms of edge retention compared to the rat in AUS 8. The design, like you can see even in the back, like the screws mounted all the way in the back of the handle gives you a very robust handle that is not gonna flex, and the liner is exposed so that you can actually put your finger in there even when you're wearing gloves. And now this is where the similarities end, because the main thing that you're gonna notice, besides the blade shape, which is more of a spear point on the Flic, it's the blade stock. The blade stock on the Flic, it's way more generous than what you get with the rat. So let's actually see what the caliper says. And we have, let's set it up in inches, and we have almost 0.14 inches on the Slic versus the 0.11 on the rat. So this is what makes this your actual outdoors knife. The rat can do many things outdoors, but this will stand to abuse way better. Definitely, like with such a big stock. And let's also do a quick size comparison with the 3 inches blade of the Red 2, so that you know how big this is gonna look. This is a knife for people with big hands, definitely, and it feels great. It feels great to use. The other improvement upon the Red 1, that it's something that for me it's important, not for everybody, but for me it's important. So it's the distance between your knuckles and the beginning of the edge. Now on the Red you have about a full inch between your knuckle and the beginning of the edge over here. On the Flic, this distance goes down to pretty much half inch. And this is such a beautiful improvement that maybe not everybody worries about this. I do, right? So I like being able, when I'm cutting rope, wood, cardboard, like anything that needs some leverage, I like to have the edge close to my hand as much as I can. Last improvement on the rat is this finish. This cheap belt finish that you find on rats of every size and metal, it's a fingerprint magnet and will get scratched way more easily. This nice stone wash is pretty much immortal. Now, let's see the one little gripe that I have with this knife. Honestly, it's the only gripe that I have on this knife, which is this: the amount of sharpening that you can do before the tip gets exposed. Now I use the marker to show you that this is all you can really sharpen. On the rat, you can really sharpen this thing for the rest of your days, right? And yes, we can argue that once you get over here, the blade stock is going to be very thick and yada yada yada, whatever you want. For some people this is important. Some people buy a work knife expecting the work knife to last forever, and this is something that might bug some people. Now, my favorite EDC for a while has been a Spyderco Bodacious, and the Spyderco Bodacious has the same issue, where the tip could get exposed fairly quickly with all of these sharpenings. Should you be worried about this? Not really. I mean, honestly, the Bodacious, it's around $200. This is around 50. So yeah, by the time you get here, you can send a mail to Brandon and say, hey, I would like a new one, please and thank you. And you can buy a new one for $50. So yes, you get a very strong knife that is gonna last a long time, because this is 5 years of sharpening, right? It's gonna last you for a while, but this is the little one gripe that I have on the design. Everything else, this knife is awesome. Now let's see a couple of nice touches that Brandon sends in the box. First of all, he sends this combo tool, which is 8 torques 8 on one side and 6 on the other. This is great because not everyone has a desk where they tinker with knives and they have a bunch of tools like this. Some people just buy a knife because they need a knife. They are not invested into the hobby as some of us are. And he sends you this little 8+6 tool, which is great. This is something that he sells on his website and is a nice little EDC tool. I like how simple it is. There are so many quotes pry bars on the market, and this is like a very simple iteration of that without being over designed as many of these other ones that I see online are. And you get your little bottle opener with some jimping, you get your pry bar, you get your quarter bit drive. I'm actually gonna put this on my keychain at the end of the video because I really like it. And also, Brandon sent me a set of yellow scales and a set of black hardware. So I've messed around with it. You might like to know that the pattern for the pocket clip is the same as the Benchmade. So you can, if you want a deep carry clip, you can definitely get it from Amazon. Like, you know, there's so many cheap ones that you can get. And he also sent this nice little lanyard, which I like it. It's a nice little touch. And he also sent two nice little magnets. I like that it's magnets as opposed to stickers. So let's go through the process of modifying this knife. First of all, when you do an acid bath, you always want to protect the pivot area because you don't want to have some grit over there. I also applied the polish in a pattern that I cut out from my stickers on the blade, and I had a more classic zigzag pattern on the other side of the blade, and then I dipped these into the acid wash. In the meanwhile, I was dyeing the scales from yellow to red, and then I also applied a little bit of black because I was trying to get some kind of autumn leaves camouflage kind of thing going on, because Brandon is a bushcrafter and a hunter, so I hope he's going to enjoy this color scheme. After dyeing the scales again, I gave them a good scrub. You can find all of this process in my other video where I explain how to do a pattern dye. And also, guys, you can buy a stone tumbler for 30 bucks, and that's gonna work great for your acid stone wash. Just FYI, if you're into knife modding, this is a cheap little thing. And now let's see the final result, which is this. I'm pretty happy how it came out. I hope Brandon is gonna like it too. The Flic knife is absolutely fun to play around with. That said, if you guys like these videos and you like unhyped realistic reviews, please subscribe and like this video.